I can stand by you, Leslie.
Well, this should be interesting.
Would you like a leaflet, sir?
No, thanks.
He's an expert. Apparently not. I'd like to know why the thoroughbred industry is so terrified of PETA.
I'd like to know why Leslie raises and sells horses, and yet she's a member of PETA.
I'm a member of PETA because the horses I raise and sell, I hope will have a chance to not be beaten to death and abused in the manner in which not horses like 8 Bells, but horses every day on racetracks across North America are treated.
Besides 8 Bells that day, she was the only horse, not that I'm lessening the breakdown, there was 111 other horses that ran on Saturday on the same track that didn't break down. And I'm not lessening her death because that's very tragic. It's not what anybody wants to see that's in the sport, but there was a lot of horses that didn't break down.
I'm not against horse racing, even though I'm carrying a PETA sign. I'm against unnecessary abuse and mismanagement of these animals. And I just want implementation such as whipping regulations brought into effect in this country as they are in Europe. I don't know why that is seen as so extreme that a jockey shouldn't be held accountable. And I'm not talking about the jockey on 8 Bells.
I'm really tired of PETA coming out and acting like they're trying to enact reforms when the simple fact of the matter, if you read their website, is that they want to shut our industry down. And so I suggest if they do that, they'd be ready to come get in line and take all the horses with them.
Changes need to be made, and this industry needs to wake up and accept the fact that the public at large, who they rely on to keep this industry going, is tired of seeing this and need to adjust their practices accordingly.
And it's really important that we come out and try to show the best we can that PETA does not really know what they're talking about. They're very, very poorly informed. If you go to their website, to me, I just think that what they have posted is just slander, frankly, and I just don't think that it's right what they're doing. They're trying to villainize the sport.
These are some of the best horsemen in the business. They're training horses to do something that they love to do, which is run. And these are not people who abuse horses. They love their horses. They're just like their family. And it's ridiculous that a group is running around destroying careers, trying to destroy the image of the racing industry.
Can we make these sports more safe? For both the rider and the horse, clearly.
You think technology is the answer?
I don't know what the answer is, to be real honest with you. I think accidents, unfortunately, are going to happen no matter what, just like it happens with any athlete, be it a baseball player, a basketball player, a football player. I mean, injuries do occur, obviously. So can we be 100% safe at all times? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know the answer to that.
PETA was only able to adopt 2% of the animals in their care last year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a ridiculous organization. And if these people really feel the way they are, I'm just going to be interested to see what they're wearing and what they had for breakfast.
Exactly.
Because I'm assuming they're all vegans and that they're not wearing any kind of animal fibers.
My name's Lloyd Coy. I'm 29 years old. I grew up in central Kentucky. I was born in Georgetown. I used to work in a welding shop not 3 miles from this very location. I've been around the horse racing industry my whole life. I've worked on numerous horse farms. And you know, the bottom line is animal exploitation in any way is wrong and unnecessary, and just an example of greed, where all the money that goes into it could be directed to much better causes. And the horse industry in particular, the only people, or the only beings involved that are more on drugs than the jockeys are the horses themselves. They're often drug addicted. They have heart attacks regularly. I think it's what, 1 in 22 races has a horse injury or death, a major injury or death, and you know, just
That's
like,
just so totally wrong.
No, it's
That's
true.
so
It's
uninformed.
documented fact. Look it up.
No, it's not. Look at Mary Scully's research.
Okay, well, look at everyone's research. Look at Wikipedia, look at Google, look at the records. You know, I mean, there's no point in arguing about it when the facts are out there.
David Schweitzer wanted nothing to do with this. He thinks that we should all just sit back and say nothing and do nothing. And here he is representing our state thoroughbred organization.
Somebody's got to say something.
So
Oh, well.
it's time for action, not inaction. All right.
Is this the recent hyper? 8 Bells obviously is the most recent, but also with Barbaro, with you know, you had a different sport, but a breakdown in the Rolex. Is there an image problem developing here right now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously everybody's here.
Yeah.
Sure there is. Of course there is. It goes beyond image. You know, everybody has to do a better job with these animals, and everybody knows it. I mean, it's just a question of, you know, how fast are you going to do it and how are you going to approach it.
The Kentucky Derby is the longest consecutive running sporting event in the United States.
What's your name?
I think it's just ridiculous. So I'm here to show my support.
And as someone who grew up in the industry, what do you think there's any cruelty in it, or do you think that these animals are pampered, or what's your perception?
I think that that's a really tough question, the way that you phrased it, to answer. I think that obviously advancements can be made in the medical industry when it comes to these horses at any time, and that's what we're trying to do with horse racing. But when we have the opposition that we have with PETA members, I really feel like they live in a bubble and they don't really understand the real world of horse racing.
Well, we were talking about the tragedy that occurred at Rolex, which obviously was a terrible tragedy, just that, to have lost 2 horses during that event. To the best of my knowledge, we've never lost 2 horses in an event such as that. And it was very disturbing. But you know, the thing of it is it's being addressed. The United States Eventing Association immediately went back to look at the jumps to find out, was there something there that was unreasonably unsafe.
Not as many people watch the Rolex like they do the Derby, so they don't have the big hoopla. And
well, it really was taken very seriously.
Well, it is
and,
always taken
and certainly
seriously.
A lot of, I know the United States Pony Club, everyone has tried to look at what can we do to ensure safety, and unfortunately there are always going to be some things that are beyond our control.
Just to think that any of the riders, be it an event rider or a jockey during a race, would do something or run a horse that they didn't think was totally sound is ridiculous, because their life is at stake.
Sure. Absolutely.
PETA actually, last year, statistics that I've seen, they killed 90% of the animals that have been placed in their care. And they actually only were able to adopt 2%. They've killed 19,000 animals in the last few years. And there's a great website called PETAKillsAnimals.com. And while it is unfortunate that we have occasional catastrophic accidents on the racetrack, PETA regularly destroys animals by choice, and they have a huge freezer at their home office in Virginia where they have all these bodies stored in some grotesque fashion. So I think people really need to look into PETA, and I think that they would probably find that their founder is making a lot of money off the organization, just playing on people's hearts. They sound like they have a great message, but to use Michael Blowen's words, they're humaniacs.
Obviously, some of these folks are blaming some of these things on the loss of 8 bells, and others people say that was a freak accident that was going to happen.
It's a terrible thing, you know, and we do have to put more money into research and development as to why these accidents happen. We have to put more focus back on the horse and less on the money. All those issues, I think, are true. But I think that, you know, to blame Larry Jones for what I saw Larry Jones grazing 8 bells 3 days before the Derby. This guy loved this horse more than anybody else. He spent time with this horse, he knew this animal, and no one is more heartsick about it than Larry Jones. And I think if you ask Larry Jones, you know, if you could do it all over again, would you race this horse knowing what happened? Of course he wouldn't. Of course he wouldn't. Was it a wrong decision to race the horse? I'm not a trainer, I don't know. I just retire horses. But Larry, you could tell by Larry's relationship with this racehorse just in the few minutes that I saw him that he was in love with her.
Yeah.
And nobody's more heartbroken than he is.